everyone, it's Anne here. What I've got today are these tiny postage stamps, or fake postage stamps. They, just hold them up, hopefully you'll see them a little better. I just love these. They're really good because first of all you get to use up all your tiny scraps of this gorgeous paper that they're made from, and all your odds and bits and bobs of beads. So I'll just move these out of the way and I'll show you how I did them. I'm using these chipboard stamps that are pre-cut, and they pop out really easily. So I just take one of those, like that, and it's all ready to use. And I'm also going to use some of this paper that's very heavily embossed. I'm not quite sure what it's called. Reminds me of the wallpaper we used to have in England when I was a child that was called anaglypta. It could be called that, but I'm not really sure. But anyway, it's heavily embossed and it's beautiful. This gold sheen, it's almost pearl-like, it's gorgeous. And there's a nice black and silver one. Anyway, I've cut out some little pieces that I'm going to use from my scrap box, because here's my scrap box of it. I don't throw any bits of it away because it's just too pretty, and you can use every last scrap when you're doing something like this. So I've got my stamp and I've cut out some little pieces from the special paper, and I've cut them so that they're just slightly smaller than the stamp, just by a couple of mil all around the edge. So you can just lay one on and see it's just slightly smaller, so you can see the perforations basically around the edge. And I'm going to glue that on. Just put a little bit of glue onto the stamp. Like that. And then I'll use this one. Put the piece on that you've pre-cut. Just slide it while your glue is wet. When you're happy with it, press it on. Like that. And just set that aside to dry. We'll do another one. Please excuse my hands, I'm working with a lot of paper clay and paint and glue at the moment, and I just can't get them clean. There's glue on that one, and then just line it up, press it down there, and we'll do a couple more. Do the pink one, I think. Bit of glue, smear it out, the piece on, press it down, last one. And I love to make the little things that I find them very satisfying. Good. Fortunately this glue dries fairly quickly, so I'll be able to use these ones to carry on. I don't have to wait for them to dry. Okay, we'll get those bits out of the way. Now the next thing to do is just to ink around the edge, which we all do quite often, I'm sure. Just makes the perforation stand out so it looks more like a stamp. And it also puts a little bit of an edge on the paper that you've just glued down. Oh, the camera must be shaking. I'm sorry about that. I'll do it over here. Alright, now I've inked around the edges. The next thing to do is to decide what I'm going to put on them. And you can see with the ones that I made, they've got very, very tiny little decorations on them. Like this one has just got a cluster of little beads. And this one has a punched out flower and punched out leaves. Now this one has a bigger bead. Oops, sorry. And the bead had a hole in the top, but don't let that put you off from using something. I'll show you the bead. This is the bead, and you can see it's got a hole in the top. But what I did was thread a piece of cord through it, and I actually was able to stamp on the bead with a tiny stamp as well. So you can use anything you like so long as it's tiny in proportion to your stamp, you know, just to sit in the corner. So with this one, I've got another one of these lovely black and white beads, and all I did with these was to glue this one on, so I'll just put a tiny bit of glue in the corner there, stick the bead on, and that one, this one you use the little bead that I did with the string. Now a little bit of glue, and we can have the cord hanging off this one like that. And here I have an assortment of little beads which I managed to spill everywhere. But we might put that on this one here. A little bit of glue, and then just get your beads onto the glue while it's wet. You don't have to encourage them a bit, just stay in a little pile for a second. But once that glue's dry, they'll be there very securely. And this one I'm going to put a bling on it. Let me see, what have we got here? A red bling. So a bit of glue. Like that. Now I'm going to try and get the bling right in the middle of the glue. I'll move it around until it's got a little bit of glue showing around the edges. And where that glue, I don't know if you can see that, where that glue's white and wet around the edge, I'm going to, excuse my very dirty tray, use some of these micro beads and just sprinkle them on like that, and then shake the excess off, and you'll see where the glue was wet that they've just stuck to the glue, and they made a little circle around the bling. Okay, so we'll just shift those, don't spill them. Alright, well there you have it. There's not much to them, but they do look effective, and I just love them. They're so cute. And you also, as I say, get to use up all your tiny little scraps of this excellent embossed paper. I don't know how they get it so richly embossed because it's beautiful. And all your odd beads. Yes, they're really pretty, and I'm sure that not only are they good for putting on your crafts, but if you know a person who's a craft friend, I'm sure they would love to receive some as a gift. So there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. And anything that I've used here, the stamps and the paper, the links will be down below as to where you can find those. Thanks again. Bye.